and they've tried to implement those messages for us on the field. And look, it's not been easy, but we've had a couple of good results, and we're hopefully going to get one today as well.
One of those good results was last week. How much confidence did the team get from that?
Yeah, look, they earned the confidence in the game. We grew in the game. We started okay last week, but we grew into it after about 10-15 minutes. And the confidence came from the attitude and the application from how we was trying to go about the game. So you can see that confidence coming back in. And obviously, if you're a confident player, then things can be quite positive on the field for you as well.
And the race for the final two spots of finals football is really tightening up. What are you telling the team to focus on in the run-in?
Oh, look, the message is just the same. So, look, we've got a few games left of the season, but it's all about this weekend. It's all about today for us. The message is just the same as they have been since we walked through the door.
And 3 losses. Are you expecting a wounded Phoenix today?
Potentially, no. I think they're going to come back and they're going to give it a good go today. Obviously, we've been in that situation as well, and everybody's striving for consistency. So I'm sure they'll want to get back to winning ways, and look, we want to try and affect that as well today.
Are you going to be the first Australian A-League team to win at Eden Park?
Hopefully, yeah.
Lovely, thank you. All the best today, Nick.
Thank you very much, thank you. All the best.
Credit where it's due, Ifey. I muddled up my offense and defence earlier, but, their defence, it's only bettered by City and Wanderers this A-League season. What is the key to the Roar being so successful defensively?
I think you've got to look to the captain, Tom Aldred, absolute warrior. He's somebody you want in your change room. We had the likes of Ben Sigmund in my time, and I knew when I went out on the pitch he'd do whatever it took to get a win across the line. I think
Booed a few people here and there.
If needed. Aldred had a bit of that when he first came here, but I think he understands the league a little bit better now, and he knows what he can and can't do. Leads it really well. You've got the likes of Hinger, and you've got Neville around him. Absolute stalwarts in this league, know exactly what they're doing. So that's where they marshal the ones around them. So a little bit of an inexperienced goalkeeper and a fullback around them, but they can definitely look after them.
Yeah, I think it comes down to that experience and the way in which both Moon and now Green have set up the team. 2 banks of 4, they're going to sit in, they're going to be comfortable sitting deep and keeping teams at bay.
Just quickly though, Spoon, they need goals if they want to be in that playoff mix. Where are the goals coming from for the Brisbane Roar today at Eden Park?
I'm glad you asked me and not Ifey. And I think Jay O'Shea's done wonderfully well to be mentioned in the same conversation as Bessart Barisha.
Yeah.
That's huge. It's going to come from Henry Hoare and Shipovich for mine. Both players scored last week. They love getting forward, and they love springing forward from deep, so expect counter-attacks at times. The other point is set pieces. They are dangerous from a set piece. They've got some big targets and dangerous delivery, which makes for a very deadly combination.
Make no bones about it, this is a big game for both the Wellington Phoenix and the Brisbane Roar here today at Eden Park. It's wild and windy, a little bit like Oscar Zavada. But you know what? We asked the question after the break. If he doesn't score the goals, where do they come from for the black and yellow? Stick around.
fair to say, life has changed a bit recently. Most of us have found a bit more freedom, a bit more time for ourselves, a better balance of work and play. Because the one thing we've all learned from this unique time of life is that to be your own way. Isuzu teammates, running your race.
Fitness fans, you can go your own way with Isuzu UTE, the official one-man partner of the A-Leagues. We are about 13 minutes from kickoff. The teams will be on the field very soon. If you want a t-shirt, hopefully you enjoy it. Let's get behind our boys this afternoon. afternoon for Wellington fans here at Eden Park.
To Moragas, the crowd find their voice. Zavada! Oscar's got them pole dancing again. A dozen goals for Oscar Zavada. He sends Wellington on the way.
The big pole, he was the difference maker last time at Eden Park. He was the difference maker last time the Wellington Phoenix played the Brisbane Roar. 13 goals for the season, absolutely on fire, the man up front. I wish we could say the same about Božidar Krajev, Paul Eiffel, who finds himself on the bench today. 7 goals at the start of the season, none in his last 6, no goals for the last 2 months. What has happened to the Bulgarian?
I think it's a lack of chances, and I don't know what that comes down to. I don't think we're talking about him missing chances week in, week out, and I think at the start of the season you could see he's a composed finisher when he gets these opportunities. So for me, maybe it's a lack of movement, a lack of confidence. I think sometimes a rest is as good as a holiday. So maybe, you know, if he's thinking maybe we refresh him, get him in off the bench, not as much pressure to have to score, and maybe that is the change that he needs today.
Jacob, are we getting enough out of the supporting acts to the lead actor, Oscar Zavada? The likes of Sars, Ball, Costa Barbarouses?
Absolutely not, in my opinion, and that's the key difference between this team and the team of the last 2 seasons under Ufuk Talay. If you look at it, there's no player of the quality of Piscopo and De Villa, no player that's contributed to the team as much. And if we just run through the names that you mentioned there, Sas, 2 goals. Costa, 2 goals. David Ball, 1 goal and 1 assist. That's nowhere near where David Ball has been over the last couple of seasons, and Ufi will be hoping that changes today.
Keep it brief, gentlemen. What happens today? Brisbane win, Wellington win?
I think I'm happy that we're back here. This is a good stomping ground for us. I think we get across the line just.
Necessity means Wellington will have to do everything to win today.
We can't overstate the importance of this result for both sides. For the Knicks, though, it'll snap a 3-game losing streak, and the top 4 is still an outside chance. There's so much to play for at Eden Park this afternoon. Kickoff is moments away, live on Sky Sport.
fans. A reminder, please, our legal penalty music exists for offenders of penalties and lifeless behaviour. Any spectator identified with an item may be refused to be evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending future A-League matches, and handed over to police for further questioning. A financial fine may also be issued. We ask you to respect your fellow spectators by refraining from illegal and or dangerous activities this afternoon here at Eden Park.
So history awaits one way or another. And he bends it! What a goal! He's done it again! Remember the name! Oh, what the finish! Wow. Oh my words!
This is just pure touch, instinct, confidence.
Western United have won the A-League Championship.
The A-League men's regular season is boiling to its climax. With 2.5 rounds to go, 4 of the 6 final spots have now been filled, meaning competition for the 2 that remain is absolutely white hot, with every minute of every match taking on enhanced importance. Wellington can go a long way to securing their top 6 spot with victory here today, while a win for Brisbane would keep their finals flame burning ahead of a keenly awaited return to Suncorp Stadium in 8 days' time. Eden Park is today's venue. The Phoenix have never lost here. Brisbane Roar have never been here. But what plays out here over the next couple of hours will have big repercussions for the finals hopes of both of these sides. Welcome to the Garden of Eden in the Auckland suburb of Sandringham for A-League men's action as the Wellington Phoenix meet Brisbane Roar, live on Sky Sport. Plenty of replica shirts in the crowd. A slightly chilly day, necessitating the odd jacket and bobble hat. Plenty of scarves around. Former Phoenix and all-whites goalkeeper Jacob Spoonley alongside in commentary. You know I love a cliche. Jacob, must win for both sides, surely.
It is a massive match at Eden Park. A reanimated Raw arrive in Auckland, having effectively played finals football for the last month. They come across a Phoenix team whose lead over the pack has disappeared in the last 3 games. As you say, Tiny, it is must-win football.
Some steely determination in the tunnel. Tim Payne knows this city well. Spent a lot of his youth here. For Brisbane, it is a fresh pasture upon which they have never played. The Wellington Phoenix have made a habit of bringing games to Eden Park. This is the 5th straight season they have done so. And out they come into some, I'm going to say, weak afternoon sunshine, mainly overcast here in Auckland, but onto a pristine playing surface for an all-so-important round 24 match in the Isuzu UTE Hyundai A-League men's competition. Special moment as always for the youngsters who have earned the chance to accompany the teams out onto the grass. Flag bearers as well, and you can see there's a bit of fluttering going on there. Conversation between mascot and player there. Nico Boxall is into the action for the first time in a starting sense. Let's get you to the Wellington Phoenix starting formation. 1 enforced and 3 tactical changes for Wellington. Josh Laws is suspended after his red card against Melbourne City on Easter Monday. Nico Boxall comes in to centre-back for his first A-League start. He partners Scott Wootton, who returns from injury, pushing Tim Payne out to right back. Callan Elliott dropping to the bench. Bojadir Kraev drops out of the starting 11, replaced by Costa Barbarouses. Clayton Lewis starts in midfield in place of skipper Alex Rufer. That means Ollie Sale has the captain's armband today in his hometown. Unsurprisingly, Brisbane are unchanged after their 3-0 win over Newcastle last weekend. The right side of the back four, Jack Hingett and Scott Neville, boast over 540 A-League appearances. Kai Truan's been practically an ever-present in midfield. Jay O'Shea has goals in each of his last 5 games. And 33-year-old Serbian striker Stefan Šepović opened his A-League account last weekend. Plenty of experience and potential impact on the Wellington Phoenix bench. Rufa, Krajev and Elliott. And for Brisbane, Nikola Miliusnic has goal-scoring pedigree. Austrian Marcel Kanadi is also among the reserves. Nico Boxall makes his starting debut for the Phoenix in his hometown, having played professionally in Germany, Finland, Denmark and the US. His older brother and fellow All-White Michael played 39 matches for the Phoenix. Last weekend, Jay O'Shea became just the third player in Brisbane Roar history to score in 5 consecutive games, joining Besart Berisha and Jamie McLaren. If he scores today, he'll equal Berisha's record of goals in 6 straight matches. Interim Brisbane Roar coach Nick Green replaced Warren Moon in February, and in the time since has overseen 3 wins all at home and 3 losses all away. In that time, Brisbane have scored 10 and conceded 10. No word yet on whether he or somebody else will take on the role full-time next season. Just about set for a start in Auckland. Absolutely crucial contest coming up between the Wellington Phoenix, all in gold, attacking the goal to right of screen, and Brisbane Roar in their change strip, darker than their traditional orange, attacking the goal to our left. 46th meeting between these two, 21 wins for Brisbane, 11 for Wellington, 13 draws. The Phoenix have won the last 2 meetings. Never in their history have they won 3 in a row against Brisbane. Brisbane have won their last 3 home games, but have just 1 point from their last 7 on the road. That playing surface looks absolutely immaculate, especially when you compare it to the last patch of grass that the Phoenix were unfortunate enough to play on, Amy Park, on Easter Monday. Should be no problem with the surface today, Jake.
Oh, there is absolutely no problem with this track at Eden Park. Usually immaculate, and it is elevated because of the impending World Cup fixtures that it will be hosting. A treat for both sides to play on today.
Tug on the shirt there by Tom Aldred on Oscar Zavada, who dropped deep to look to collect possession for his side. 13 goals for Oscar Zavada this A-League men's season. Scored on his only other appearance here against Sydney FC in the goal that the Phoenix are now attacking. Jan Sarsen, Clayton Lewis on set-piece duty. Sars always seemed likely to let that go, and Clayton Lewis's left foot will deliver into the Brisbane penalty area. Flicked off the shin of a Brisbane player, and behind for a corner. Stefan Šepović back defending, and not entirely sure, I don't think, where that ball was.
Dangerous ball in from Lewis, and Šepović shows the touch of a striker, albeit in the wrong box, but does well to guide that past the far post.
Early corner for Wellington. Towards the near post, and Zavada was herring in, hingered over the top of him, back in by Sutton and away by Kai Truan for Brisbane. Oscar Zavada said during the week that he has a target in mind for goals that he wants to score now. It's higher, obviously, than the double figures he started the season targeting. As Jan Sas making headway down the right. Aldred across and throw to the Brisbane Roar. Just the second time Brisbane have played the Phoenix at a venue other than Wellington on this side of the Tasman. Last time all the way back in 2011-12. The two sides met in Dunedin. The Phoenix won 2-0, and Paul Eiffel scored one of the goals. I was pleased to learn that during the week. We've got Paul Eiffel sideline for us. We'll get his thoughts throughout the game. Brisbane Roar buoyed by their 3-0 win over Newcastle a week ago. Still well and truly in the finals race, and as you heard during the pre-game, it's all in their hands. Win their remaining 3 matches, Brisbane, and they will play finals football. It seemed unlikely at stages this season, but last weekend, as I say, gave them a lot of confidence. Here they come with their first opportunity to test Ollie Sale. Clayton Lewis is unceremoniously dumped on the edge of the penalty area by Kai Truan. Let's go sideline to Paul Eiffel. Just such a huge game for both sides. Paul, any sort of nervous energy you can sense from not far away from the playing surface?
Yeah, a little bit. Look, just on the playing surface, it's absolutely magnificent down here. You can see the water when the ball's rolling on it. I think the Phoenix will get into this and start being able to use that. But at the moment, they do look a little bit nervous. I think they're the ones that probably need to be on the front foot and has not started so well at the moment. I think they need to get the ball down and use the fact that they've got a really good service and then more of the ball-playing team of the two.
Do you remember that goal in Dunedin?
Of course, mate. Of course, yeah. It was deflected. It wasn't a bad goal. Went past a couple and deflected it in, pretended it wasn't deflected, as I like to do, and it flew into the top corner. Yeah, I don't know if it was going in without deflection, but yeah, not a bad one.
Not a bad goal, but deflected. Jason Pine.
I think they all count for one. Last time I checked, Jack Hingett played in that game as well, incidentally, coming off the bench in what was just his 3rd appearance for Brisbane. Today, his 232nd. Scott Wooten back in the side, having recovered from the calf injury, given away though, and Brisbane with a chance to break. O'Shea helping it forward towards Lofthouse. Still there for Henry Hoare, a dangerous runner. Goes over in the penalty arc. No foul, says referee Stephen Lucas. That might be though, a shove in the back by Scott Neville on Sam Sutton. He helps him to his feet, to the pleasure of assistant referee Sarah Jones over there. Ufuk Talay ended a long period of speculation on Thursday, announcing this will be his last season at the Wellington Phoenix Football Club. 4 seasons, a better winning percentage than any of his predecessors. A hard man to replace, but the Phoenix will make that announcement in the week ahead, we're told. Here's ball as he and Barbarouses look to combine. Hingett and Barbarouses just lost sight of the ball there for a sec. Former teammates at Brisbane. Good crisp passing by Brisbane as they break forward again. Here's Lofthouse. He might try and make room for a shot. Lofthouse ends. It's a penalty. Jan Saas collecting the legs of Jez Lofthouse, and Brisbane have an early opportunity to open the scoring from the penalty spot.
That's exactly the sort of start that Nick Green will be hoping for. Turn over the ball in the middle, spring forward, find Lofthouse on the edge, he cuts inside Payne, and then it's the recovering Jan Saas. Puts his feet right in the middle of it, makes a tangle. Very clear penalty.
Not a word of complaint from any Wellington Phoenix player. Clear as day. Jan Saas collecting Jez Lofthouse.
And we could be seeing history here, Jason Pine. Jay O'Shea, the man from 12 yards.
He scored in 5 consecutive games. He's now scored in 6. He equals the club record held by club legend Besart Berisha. Jay O'Shea, a scorer in 6 consecutive matches, and Brisbane into an early 1-0 lead.
Never any doubt. A man so confident from the penalty spot. Strolls up to this one, waits for Ollie Sale to move, and guides it down the middle of the goal, vacated by Ollie Sale. I'm not quite sure how, but he's managed to get his way into the conversation with Besart Berisha. That elevates the achievement.
Absolutely. Takes him past Jamie McLaren, which is also a great conversation to be in. Equal now with Besart Berisha. 6 matches in which he has scored consecutively. 4 of those have been penalties, but they all count. And the wind has come out of the sails of this crowd here in Auckland. Not quite sure what the delay in restarting here is. Stephen Lucas just waiting to make sure all's okay. So Wellington are going to have to come from behind in this one. It's something they haven't had to do that often this season. They've conceded first just 7 times if you include this match, and they haven't won any of the matches previously in which they've gone 1-0 behind. Brisbane have scored first 8 times now this season and have won 5 and drawn 2 of the previous 7. So I guess in other words, Brisbane haven't lost when they've gone 1-0 ahead, and Wellington haven't won when they've gone 1-0 behind.
Well, they'll be very comfortable now, buoyed by that important result last week. Nick Green sees his men go ahead early against a Wellington Phoenix side that is a diminishing sense of confidence. Feels like we've been waiting for them to find that 4th or 5th gear this season, and it hasn't come. Now they've got more work to do here at Eden Park.
Well, Jan Saas isn't in the team for his defending, and he'll look back on that challenge, I'm sure, with some regret. The Brazilian, all he can do now, though, is put it behind him. Try and make amends at the other end where he does his best work. Brisbane, what a perfect start for them as they look to become the first ever A-League men's side to beat Wellington at Eden Park. Payne. Ugarkovic. Nico Boxall. Crowd start to find their voice again to urge Wellington on. I guess in the positive column for Wellington is that there's plenty of time to go. Never want to concede early, obviously, but it does give you plenty of time to look for a way back, which Wellington will need if they are to continue to solidify their top 6 credentials. With the table so tight, every goal seems to have some sort of impact, some sort of influence on the top 6. You can't take your eyes off any game really at the moment. Had some crackers over the weekend, particularly last night. Melbourne City and the Mariners. What a contest.
Especially when Victory scored that early goal. Or, sorry, scored their goal, rather. Had the feeling of it being inevitable that that game would go deep. And then Western Sydney Wanderers coming up with a very important goal to secure an even more important 3 points.
O'Shea, the goal scorer. This time looking to perhaps turn provider. Plenty have gathered in the Phoenix penalty area. Everybody back for Wellington. The delivery is good. Away by Zavada. Still there for Brisbane as Truan helps it forward. Hoare. Lofthouse, who won the penalty that set Brisbane into the lead. Movement broken up by Wellington, and a shove on the back of David Ball in midfield. Taras Gamolka, the culprit on that occasion. Saas just about giving that one away. Scott Wooten tidying up. So a shaky start in many respects by the Wellington Phoenix. just really struggling to find any sort of rhythm at all early. Another opportunity for Brisbane. Shepovich unable to direct his shot on target.
Just heard Ollie Sale in the microphones there, talking about the need to pivot, to move the ball from side to side, not to get trapped by a press that isn't really with true numbers from Brisbane Roar. They should be able to play around Shepovich, who is the sole number 9. And that time getting frustrated, Scott Wooden really played into a difficult cul-de-sac.
Given away again by Wellington and Lofthouse. O'Shea trying to play in. Jez Lofthouse put the thumbs up for the intent. Just wasn't quite able to seize upon it. Again, the touches are just a bit untidy from Wellington. Sam Sutton that time almost ceding possession. Costa Barbarouses unable to keep that one in. Let's be interested in the effect of the wind sideline, Paul, whether there is any effect of the wind at ground level today.
Look, it's very windy down here, very windy. It's swirling around, so the players are going to be unsure where it's going from minute to minute. And at the moment, the press is good enough from Brisbane Roar, and it's making it very difficult. Ooh, no, that's over. Making it very difficult for the Phoenix to play out. And the problem you've got is Ollie Sale is unaware of what's around him to be able to play out, and he's going longer, then it's holding up in the wind, and they're getting it back again. And Brisbane have looked pretty tidy on the ball. Jez Lofthouse on this side looks pretty decent. I think Tim Payne's going to have a long afternoon trying to deal with him. He picks up really good positions as the press is going on to be able to attack when they win the ball back. So keep an eye out for Lofthouse on this side.
And it looks opportunistic at times, but it comes from being very organised there, finding the keys in the middle of the park very well.
Here come Wellington with an opportunity to find an opening. David Ball, shape to shoot. Looks outside and sees Zavada. It's going to fall to Ugarkovic. Barbarouses. He and Jan Sass not quite on the same page. They might be now, no. The back heel from Sass looking for Barbarouses to seize upon it. Couldn't quite.
That organisation fell away there. That was the first time the Wellington Phoenix have really got in between the two defensive lines for Brisbane Roar. A snapshot of the fluidity that Tale's going to be expecting from Barbarouses and Jan Sass. The understanding wasn't quite there, but a moment of promise as Wellington Phoenix look to build back into this match.
Costa Barbarouses playing against one of his former employers, of course. Had time at Brisbane, a very successful season actually. 2010-11, scored 12 goals for them as they won the A-League Championship.
Ready, drop.
Sale looks long. Zavada the target. Is Lewis reinstalled to the starting side today? Across the 6-yard area, Aldred is there, and that's not going to count as a back pass by any stretch. And the crowd thought perhaps, but I don't think there's any suggestion of a back pass there as Jordan Holmes picks the ball up for the Roar. Nice little flick into the path of Lofthouse. As Paul mentioned, Tim Payne's going to have his hands full with Jez Lofthouse today.
Jez Lofthouse and Henry Hoare. The Brisbane Roar are very sprightly in those wide areas, and they'll need to be. Followed a template that was set down by Warren Moon, but there's more freedom under Nick Green, and those wide players in particular spring forward whenever Brisbane are able to win the ball in the middle of the park.
Gamolka goes back to captain of the Roar, Tom Aldred. Good solid header from Sam Sutton. Zavada does well to keep it in, but then possession given away again to Brisbane. O'Shea shifts it across towards Lofthouse. It seems though they're keen to get him on the ball as often as possible. Neither he or Payne, I don't think, got a touch on that. And indeed it will be a goal kick that results. Just a lack of cohesiveness in the first 20 minutes or so for Wellington. Nothing really in the way of clear-cut opportunities for Jordan Holmes to have to deal with.
And a match that Ufuk Tully was hoping that his team would be able to assert themselves from the first minute. He's seen them go behind early. He's cut a frustrated figure on the sideline. It all came from a position where he made a change. Replaced Callan Elliott with Tim Payne, expecting a lot more defensive certainty, and it just did not come in that early moment, which separates the two sides.
Almost an eye-catching move involving Jay O'Shea and Kai Truan in the Wellington penalty area. Ugarkovic thought about the long pass, brings it forward, and then tried to slide one into Sass. Instead has to come out to Payne. Now Sass will get on the ball. Barbarouses has come over to the right-hand side to try and find some joy here. Ugarkovic. Payne. Towards Zavada. It's not going to reach him. Neville in the way. The ball though for to Jan Sass. He's forced wide. And that's gone behind for what will be a goal kick. He's naturally left-footed, Jan Sass. Couldn't wrap his right around it.
Oh, there was hesitation when there needed to be decisiveness. Jan Sass gets the pieces after that ball goes in. It's not really repelled by Neville. Falls to Sass on his right side. I actually think he was looking for contact there. Saw the hesitation in his movement, and that meant that the ball was able to go out for a goal kick. Perhaps speaks to the level of confidence within this Wellington Phoenix team at the moment. Earlier in the season, we've seen Sass and also Kraev slam the ball into the back of the net inside the 18-yard box. That time Sass felt he needed an extra touch, and that's when the opportunity disappeared.
Shepovic over there, trying to get it off Sutton, and flag goes the way of Wellington for their throw. Stephen Lucas wants Sam Sutton to go back to where the ball actually went out. Zavada v Aldred. In fact, that was Barbarouses v Aldred that time. Falls to Zavada. Won't quite make its way through to Sass, but trying to clean up Barbarouses, and Sass and Barbarouses. Just the lack of communication and cohesiveness again as an attack looked likely to form but didn't.
Well, forget about intuition, the understanding wasn't there. Costa Barbarouses had rights to that one. He was dead in on goal, and it all came initially from an underhit pass from Zavada. So a poor phase of play from the Wellington Phoenix. Expect them to be able to capitalise on these situations. There we see Zavada, underhit, not wide enough. Jan Sass comes back for the ball and blocks Costa Barbarouses, who can rightly turn around and ask him what he was doing.
Been a challenging season in many ways for Costa Barbarouses. His third stint at his hometown club hasn't quite had the impact that I'm sure he would have hoped. Just a couple of goals so far this season for Costa. Brisbane with a chance to construct something in the attacking third. Shepovic. Couldn't quite find Kamolka. Wellington looked to bring it away, but Henry Hoare is back to win possession back for the visitors. I'll go all the way back to Jordan Holmes. Brisbane keeping Wellington pinned in. They have without question had the better of the first quarter of this match. The Brisbane Roar is Truant. Finds its way through again, and now it's Jay O'Shea, the goal scorer. Once again, Wellington forced Brisbane back, but once again, they retain possession. It's almost as though this Brisbane side has found a new lease on life under their new coach, but it's now broken up, and Wellington perhaps with a chance to break through. Oscar Zavada looks left and right, goes himself, and it all came apart at the seams rather for Wellington. Was there a touch of a Brisbane player?
I think there definitely was. The question is, did Jan Suss get a touch on that on the way through? This time the Wellington Phoenix win the ball and break from the middle of the park, and Zavada waits for a run to come, looking to slip someone in. Not enough, so he takes the opportunity on himself, and he has every right to. In great form this season.
Suss takes the corner. Zavada! Well, it's been a familiar sight. The pole rising high and getting his head on the ball, but not the purchase that was required to trouble Jordan Holmes that time.
Does rather hold up in the wind there, an outswinger. And Jack Hingett isn't the first player to be held at bay by Oscar Zavada as he creates a chance for himself. 25 minutes gone, and you feel that Brisbane Roar are used to the situation here. They've been building their way back into the season. It was only by means of a very poor Western United that they weren't bottom when Nick Green took over. And particularly over the last month that they had started getting wins. It did feel like they were playing finals football about a month before everybody else. The Phoenix seem to be taken on the back foot. They're not used to the intensity of the match, and as we've made the point of already, 3 wins, it doesn't do anything for the confidence, and Brisbane Roar have hit them right at the heart of that insecurity at the moment.
Yeah, Brisbane will feel if they can take 3 points today that they'll be in very good shape for the finals. They've got a return to their spiritual home at Suncorp Stadium to look forward to next Monday. Sydney FC, the visitors, and then they finish their season away at Melbourne Victory. Here's Ugarkovic. Lofthouse is back with him. Still there for Ugarkovic. Brisbane doing a very decent defensive job at the moment. Lewis. He's looking for options, none apparent at the moment.
Just to confirm, Jason Pine, Brisbane Roar, as the table currently stands, are 6th, I've been told. That resurrection, that reanimation under Green has not only put them in the conversation, but it's put them ahead at the moment.
Yeah, still a big game to come following this, with Sydney FC and Perth Glory going head-to-head at Allianz Stadium. That really shapes as a big, big game in the context of the season. But you're right, Jake. If this result were to stand, Brisbane would have 29 points and a goal difference of -5, which would have them in 6th place. But they want more. Shepovic earns the corner off Scott Wharton.
Talked about the youthfulness and energy that Brisbane Roar do have out wide. Shepovic has brought direction and experience through that central channel. Got on the score sheet last week. He'll be keen to add himself into this danger that Brisbane Roar do have at set-piece time.
O'Shea on set-piece duty. Brisbane score a lot of goals from set-pieces. And a push on Jan Saas means that that number won't be added to.
A lot of jostling inside the 18-yard box. That time, Tom Aldred. Don't know if he mishandled Jan Saas, but Saas went down relatively easy there.
This one's long towards Zavada. He flicks it on, but it's easily cushioned back by the experienced Scott Neville to Jordan Holmes. Yeah, Brisbane have now scored 24 goals this season. 12 of them have been from set pieces. 6 penalties, 3 from corners and 3 from indirect free kicks. So it's been an area of real productivity for them.
They'll also get a lot of confidence that they can go on and get 3 points, because they do have the 3rd best defensive record in the competition, only bettered by Melbourne City and Western Sydney Wanderers.
Forward by Hingett. Boxall had to readjust his body position to block that one. Saas gets away from a would-be tackler into the penalty area. Barbarouses, he'll win a corner. It was Noah Smith, the left back, who was unable to stop the progress of Saas.
Saas skips by Smith. Lovely second touch from the Brazilian, slips in Barbarouses. We talked about the marshalling of this Brisbane Roar defence. You saw it that time there. Scott Neville not letting the ball get past him.
Lewis will take this in swinging corner from the right-hand side. Zavada is an obvious target. On the edge, Sam Sutton, what a save by Holmes. What a strike by Sutton, but what a good save. Straight at him, in all honesty, but there was some power behind that from Sam Sutton.
What a hit. Sutton stings the palms of Holmes.
Here's Saas again. A couple of step-overs, but a heavy touch, and it'll all fizzle out for Wellington, but Sam Sutton gave that plenty.
Jordan Holmes sees the ball, initially repelled again, falls to Sutton, and then Holmes doesn't just defend the goal, he has to defend himself, because that is travelling. A beautiful hit. How late does Holmes see it as well, Jason? Adds to the save.
Yeah, Sam Sutton must have thought that his second goal of this season was going to come there.
Good initial delivery, puts it into the area. You can see Zavada's lurking. And that's what the Phoenix work on so much, that set piece. A second phase from the set piece. That time I think they ended up with 4 players on the 18-yard box. Often you'll see at least 2 or 3 lurking, waiting for that ball to come out to then pounce on it and take advantage of the bodies there in front of the goalkeeper.
Ugarkovic is getting more and more involved. Here's Payne again. Looks up, sees Zavada, aims for him. And that's off the head of a Brisbane defender. And behind, Jack Hingett getting the final touch. Another corner for Wellington.
Well, one subtle change that has happened in the last 10 minutes is that Oscar Zavada and Costa Barbarouses have changed up front. Zavada's gone across to Neville.
Corner quickly taken, David Ball. Lewis, he helps it in, Zavada's there. Barbarouses. Ugarkovic, far post, they're waiting. And Brisbane defend it well. Period of sustained pressure by Wellington here, but Brisbane holding firm for the moment. Boxall's all the way forward. Ball is there, he goes down. Stephen Lucas says that is a penalty.
Well, just quietly, the boy from Sandringham has created this opportunity. Stayed forward from centre-back, Nico Boxall. drifted off the back post. Steven Ugarkovic tries to find him. It's a lovely ball in, as they have done. Brisbane will get the ball away the first time, and then Jez Lofthouse with the faintest but important touch on David Ball, and that's enough. Stephen Lucas, as he has already done this game, points to the spot for the second time.
Yeah, Jez Lofthouse, who was the recipient of the challenge from Jan Saas that earned Brisbane their penalty, has now, as you say, Jacob, got the slightest of touches on David Ball, but it's been enough for Stephen Lucas to point to the spot. So, as Brisbane had a golden opportunity to open the scoring, Wellington and that man Oscar Zavada have an equally inviting opportunity to square the ledger.
Not the same level of certainty.
They say 13 is unlucky. That is Oscar Zavada's goal tally. It's now 14 for the towering pole, and Wellington level it at one apiece.
Eden Park's on its feet. Wellington's goal-scoring Goliath does it from 12 yards this time. Number 14 rolls that one in. No doubt about it. Back to 1-1.
14 for the season means now only Jeremy Brockie with 16 in 2012-13 and Roy Krishna with 19 in 2018-19 are ahead. Unfortunately, Paul Eiffel, he's left you in the rear-view mirror. Your 13 in 2009-10 has now been surpassed by the big pole, unfortunately for you.
Yeah, I'm over the moon with that, Piney. Thanks for reminding me of that one. No, it's I'm pleased for the big man. He's been class this season. I'm not convinced it was a penalty for myself. I thought VAR might overturn that one. I thought it was very slight touch. Obviously, they thought it was enough, but he's tucked it away very nicely for the 4th in the season.
It's probably one of those ones, I feel, where if it's not given, VAR isn't going to intervene and give the penalty. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I thought it was pretty soft. The Brisbane War bench were going crazy here, but there was a slight touch. I suppose you're right there. Spoons, I have to give you that one.
No deflection on that one, Jason Pine. It was a lovely penalty. Rolled in with real confidence. As we said, that certainty that has been there for Brisbane Roar. Jay O'Shea, wonderful from 12 yards out. The Wellington Phoenix have not been able to find the back of the net from the penalty spot in the early stages of the season. So there would have been some anxiety as we led up to that moment.
Yeah, they missed plenty, didn't they, in the first segment of the season? I think from memory, 4 different players tried unsuccessfully to score from the penalty spot before they finally found joy there through Oscar Zavada, who had previously missed one, actually, but he seems to have found his penalty spot mojo now.
Just an interesting one from the statisticians. We'll leave this for the moment.
There's Jay O'Shea looking to double his money for today. Hoare.
Zavada's 14 goals, Piney, have come in different games. There has never been a brace. That's quite remarkable considering that he had a goal or an assist in 11 consecutive games already this season. So it's a chance for him for a season first today as well.
It's a crazy stat, really, when you think of prolific goal scorers, and 14 is prolific. Having not scored more than 1 in any one game is just quite uncanny, really. It brings them to within 2 of Jason Cummings now on the golden boot list. Jamie McLaren with 20. Helped by the 2 he got on Easter Monday against the Phoenix. Here's Lofthouse. Into the area and up and over by Taras Gomolka. Came to him perhaps a bit more quickly than he imagined.
Oh, Jez Lofthouse is a headache down this left-hand side. Not for the first time, Tim Payne. Can't repel him. Just the fast steps. A slight delay as he ambles towards the ball. I think Holmes bites fractionally early, and that makes the decision to go right all the more easier for the big pole.
Hoare battling away in midfield, does well to win the ball for Brisbane. Shepovich gets the return pass, Stefan Shepovich. Henry Hoare, clever. Henry Hoare, tight angle, sits down to defender Scott Wootton, still there for Hoare. Well, he doesn't want to get rid of it, he does now! Against the crossbar, absolutely sensational effort by Henry Hoare.
Well, his goal last week was good, that would have been special. I think he had the ball there for all of 20-25 seconds inside the Wellington Phoenix's 18-yard box.
What a revelation he's been, Henry Hoare, this season for Brisbane Roar. Still just 23, but plays football with a smile on his face and a spring in his step, as does Jez Lofthouse, who's leading them on a merry dance down the left. Ugarkovic in pain. Looked to double team him. Ball's gone out and everybody can catch their breath a bit, but the twinkling feet of Lofthouse and Hoare, wonderful to watch.
Let's have a look at this. This is special. Comes off the back of some tight interplay, and then Henry Hoare dances. Sits Scott Wootton down. Tim Payne doesn't want to add to the highlights reel. He then comes inside as Jan Sass backs off as well. And is that a fingertip from Ollie Sale? Regardless, crashes off the crossbar.
While that was happening, we're going to have our first yellow card of the contest, and it's going to go the way of Taras Gamolka. Just leaning on Oscar Zavada and earning himself some extra attention from referee Stephen Lucas. 5 minutes of regulation time to go in the first half. Goals from the penalty spot from Jay O'Shea and Oscar Zavada, the most prolific scorers for their respective sides so far this season.
Well, it's starting to bubble away, this one. You can sense both teams are up for it. Brisbane desperate for 3 points, and the Phoenix need them by necessity as well.
Helped into the area by Smith. It's off the studs there of Nico Boxall. Zavada thought he was fouled by Aldrich. Stephen Lucas says no, you were okay. Oscar Zavada is still to regain his feet. He is up on his feet again now as Wellington regain possession. Sass in a bit of a cul-de-sac, but gets out of it nicely. Ugarkovic. Stephen Ugarkovic across the penalty area behind Costa Barbarousa. Sutton's not going to be able to grab that before it goes behind for a goal kick. Well, that's certainly gone behind. I'm not sure why that's been missed by the assistant referee on this near side, Mark Rule. If anything comes of this, it's not going to count because that was well and truly over the byline.
I'll tell you who's outside of his technical area at the moment is Nick Green. The Royal bench weren't happy about the penalty, and they're pretty filthy about that as well.
Well, I wonder how long play has to go before you can go back. We might find out in a minute. Here's Jan Sass. Deflected. Great save by Jordan Holmes. Strong left hands.
And there's the response. Stephen Lucas isn't happy. I'm not sure if that's with Scott Neville or Jordan Holmes, but we knew it was coming. Brisbane Roar waiting for the ball to go out so could serve up a reaction to Mark Rule. I wonder if we've got an angle of it. This is the chance for Sass. Lots of bodies around, does well to get the shot off. There's a deflection, and it makes the save all the more important from Jordan Holmes.
Well, if they were angry about the corner, they would have been apoplectic if a goal had gone in. Wellington still on attack with a corner from Lewis. Oscar Zavada thought he was dragged down. Stephen Lucas saw nothing wrong with it. Wellington looking to fashion a second chance off this attacking move. Lewis cuts inside. Jan Sass, he's urged to keep going. Sass shoots straight at Holmes. And just a nervous moment or two for Brisbane fans there as Jordan Holmes collected the shot from Jan Saas.
Well, the Phoenix recycled well. They moved it down the right-hand side, found Jan Saas on the top of the 18-yard box. He gets the shot away, and then the ball rather disappeared from everyone, including Jordan Holmes. Did the difficult well moments before that, and then the simple didn't look that straightforward.
It was Scott Neville, confirmation that he got the yellow card there in the protests about the ball having gone dead. Saas can't control it, and Brisbane may come away with it. Saas gets it back. I've been watching Jan Saas all season, and I still can't work him out. I think the word enigma was perhaps constructed for Jan Saas. He looks $1 million one moment, and then maybe not quite so much the next, but he's having an influence.
Well, in open space, he does look good. Unfortunately, at times, he hasn't combined well with his Phoenix teammates. And the other thing, Jason, is there's no output, really, when you consider the position that he's been asked to occupy under Tele. Really been brought into the side to replace the likes of Reno Piscopo and Uli De Vea. And with only 2 goals so far this season, you've got to remember that's less than Ben Waine, who left the Phoenix early doors. It's been one of the areas where I think Tale wants more from his side.
Yeah, it's the same number this season as Alex Rufer as well, which I'm not sure it's a particularly high bar. Two minutes minimum to be added at the end of this first half. It's been keenly contested. As you've said, Jacob, both sides know that a point really doesn't serve their purpose particularly well. It wouldn't be terminal for Wellington. It would be a real body blow for Brisbane as they look to continue their climb up the table. Regardless of the results this weekend, Wellington can't fall outside the top 6, but they run the real risk of being swallowed up by the chasing pack if they don't get at least something from this game.
Just want to note, pitch side chaps, Callum Elliott here has been putting through his paces. Don't be surprised if there's a change at half-time. Probably pain for Elliott.
Wonder whether you made the suggestion, Paul, did you?
I'm not at that stage yet, Piney.
Just a stoppage in play here as Šefović has taken a blow to the head. Stephen Lucas responsibly stops play. There is Callum Elliott, as indicated by Paul Eiffel. You reckon that perhaps Ufuk Talay has seen enough of the havoc being caused by Jez Lofthouse down that side, Eifel?
Yeah, look, we talked about Lofthouse earlier in the game, and I think he's been great. He picks up really difficult positions when he's on the ball. He can go left, he can go right, so he's a defender's nightmare. I think Elliott, with a little bit of extra pace and maybe sort of getting him going back the other way, might give Lofthouse something to do, because Lofthouse has not looked like he wants to defend too much. Nick Green's into him all the time. Get yourself back in, but he's not having to do too much defending. So I think if they can turn that around and get Elliott up and down a little bit, it might make a difference for the Phoenix going forward.
Paul Eiffel sideline for us this afternoon. Šefović is back on his feet. Been with the club since February. He's got a real CV. Serbia, Italy, Belgium, Israel, Spain, Scotland, Hungary, Poland, Japan and Cyprus. The countries in which Stefan Šefović has played at the top level.
Coincidentally, those are the countries that have turned me down on a contract, Jason Pine.
Not the only ones. Back underway, we'll have more time added, obviously, with the stoppage there for Šefović's injury. He's back into the action, which is good news. And back into the action straight away, chesting that one off. Wharton goes back to Sale as Henry Hall was there or thereabouts. Nice little touch by Zavada to Barbarouses. Out to Saas, who couldn't control. Kamolka. Almost found its way through to Henry Hall. And Stephen Lucas brings a pretty intriguing, pretty enthralling, pretty keenly contested first half to a close. Jez Lofthouse was brought down for a penalty that Jay O'Shea scored. and then himself brought down David Ball for a penalty that Oscar Zavada put into the back of the net. Half-time at Eden Park. The Wellington Phoenix 1, Brisbane Roar 1.
Relating to security screening and intoxication. Any spectator identified with a hazardous item or assessed as unduly intoxicated may be refused entry, evicted from the stadium, potentially banned from attending future A-League matches, and handed over to police for further questioning. We ask you to respect your fellow spectators by refraining from any and all illegal or dangerous activity. Monday, May 1st, MasterChef is back, and it's serving up the most surprise of the season ever. Secret ingredients, surprise challenges, secret twists, and surprise guest judges, including Jamie Oliver, Nick Stein, Maggie Beer, Curtis Stone, and heaps more. Plus, the biggest surprise ever in MasterChef history. I can't tell you now though, it's a secret. MasterChef secrets and surprises starts Monday, May 1st on 10 and 10 Play.
Organ and tissue donation saves lives. So grab your phone and register at donatelife.gov.au, or in just a few taps in your Medicare app. It only takes 1 minute.
Phoenix fans, football is here. 8 weeks of extended our $40 family passes until the end of the Isuzu UTE League's men's regular season. Family passes include 2 parents and 2 children, or 1 parent and 3 children. Enjoy high-quality football with the family. Head to keepup.com.au/tickets to purchase yours now. Offer is available for participating clubs only and T's and C's apply.
Journey to the big time starts right here at halftime. Supporting the champions of tomorrow. That's Macca's halftime heroes.
All right, Phoenix fans. Well, how was that for a first half? It's halftime here at Eden Park. Your Wellington Phoenix on 1, Brisbane on 1 there as well. And it's now time to kick into the halftime break with our Macca's halftime hero. Next to you, hello mate. He's here all the way from Wellington, the best mascot in the league. Phoenix fans, could you make some noise and welcome young inspiring footballers from Logan Plus, Northland FC and Auckland United. Make some noise. Welcome them to Eden Park. All right, and with that, we're going over this way because the chance to win is right now. 3 lucky contestants have been chosen, and thanks to our partner Oppo, we have got some prizes up for grabs today. It is our Oppo Kick to Score Challenge, and 3 lucky contestants have a chance to win 1, a Wellington Phoenix signed jersey, 2.
No, my Hawkeye, my. The Wellington Phoenix have arrived at Eden Park, and with them their windy weather. The Brisbane Roar are in attendance as well, and at the break it is 1-1. Penalties apiece for the black and yellow and the black of Brisbane Roar. I'm alongside Wellington Phoenix hero Paul Eiffel. Paul, geez, there was a nervousness about the Wellington Phoenix to start this game and a severe lack of cohesion that has subsided throughout the course of this first 45. How did you view it from the sideline?
Yeah, look, they did look nervous. I think there was a lot of extra touches they probably didn't need. They were struggling to play out from the back, passes going astray. I have to say, a lot of that was down to Brisbane and how they set up. I thought they pressed really well, kept it down one side, particularly down this right-hand side. Payne was struggling to find a pass into midfield, often giving that pass away, and then the Roar would get it back and pounce, and they were taking up nice positions off the back of that, guys like Lofthouse and Hoare, and creating chances for themselves.
Couple of goals, obviously. 1-1 here at Eden Park, and 2 penalties, Paul. The first I like to see Jan Saas get back and defend, but I don't want him chopping down Jez Lofthouse in the box.
Yeah, look, it was too easy for them to be able to run through the midfield, and then the ball finds itself at Lofthouse feet, does well, cuts inside, and Sass returning. He should leave it to Payne. I think Payne had it covered.
And what about the record of Jay O'Shea, 6, equaling Bessart Borussia from 2011, a record that stood for 12 years. And then this one, Jez Lofthouse involved again on David Ball. Was the contact significant enough for you to warrant this penalty?
Look, I didn't think it was a pen. I thought David Ball's done really well because he gets the first touch, and that's really, really important. It is a little bit of a soft one, but it's the luck that the Phoenix maybe needed today.
And what about Oscar Zavada? Look, we had early season issues from the penalty spot, but Oscar Zavada, all the confidence in the world, he just tucks it away.
We talked a couple of weeks ago about the homework he does and the stuff he does behind the scenes, the analysis. He'll have looked at his penalties. How can he get better? He'll be taking penalties day in, day out, and he looks so calm and composed. The calmest guy in the stadium, 14 for the season, breaking my record, so well done to him.
Sorry about it, mate. Yeah, we're all gutted for you.
He's been great, and talking about it, 14 goals in 14 separate games.
Yeah.
That is something pretty special.
That's bizarre,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
crazy.
No, he's never doubled up. Something that we'd like to see here today at Eden Park as we take a look at the halftime statistics. Possession favouring the Wellington Phoenix, time in opposition half favouring the Brisbane Roar. No real surprise in those statistics, Paul.
No, not really. It's been pretty even. I think the Roar had probably the first sort of 20, 25 minutes, but the Phoenix have sort of come back into it. I think Tale will make changes at half-time, but I think he's seen enough to realise that they can still get this game won, and it could be a lot worse than it currently is.
Let's take a look at some of the Wellington Phoenix chances. Yeah, we spoke earlier about how they were a little bit slow to get started here today, but they did generate a number of chances. The one from Sam Sutton, I feel like that was the real one that sort of spurred them on. It's a catalyst to what we've seen so far today.
The Sutton strike was almost too good. He hit it almost too well. Straight at the goalkeeper. Anywhere else, a little deflection even, and it's probably a goal. There's a little bit of a mismatch here from the corners. Most of the time you see Oscar Zavada on Hingert. I don't think Hingert's good enough in the air to deal with Zavada. If he gets a run on him and we get the delivery right, we've got a chance.
That was self-preservation from Holmes, I think. He's just trying to save himself.
If he doesn't put his hands up, it hits him straight in the face, and we'll be talking about a bad concussion there at a minimum.
They have generated these chances, so you do feel like goals are coming, but in the early stages, there was a little bit of, you could see the frustration between Costa Barbarouses and Jan Saas, where Saas went back to a ball where Costa was trying to run onto, and yeah, it was the visible frustration, almost like, they're finally letting it out after 3 weeks of bad results, Paul.
Yeah, look, I think there's the lack of communication. All over the pitch at the moment, and does that come with changing a lot of players? Maybe, Nico Boxall's been in there. We were hoping he'd be cool and composed. I don't think he has. I think he's been a little bit of a problem at the back. Tim Payne has not had his greatest game up to date, so I think there's a few things going on at the back there that leads into not getting the ball into the midfield. When the midfielders eventually do get it, it's difficult because you're always trying to do something that when you haven't had the ball for that long, you're really trying to do something. Sass is that go-to guy, and it's not quite working for him. He's grown into the game, and hopefully he goes well in the second half.
It's level at the break, but Brisbane Roar could have gone in ahead. Henry Hall was allowed way too much time in the Wellington Phoenix penalty area, and they all just stood off and then bang into the crossbar, Paul.
Yeah, look, really good strike. I don't know why he was allowed so much time in the box, but certainly does really well with the ball at his feet. Happy to go left, happy to go right, dances around and manages to get his strike off. That could have been one of the goals of the season.
Did we credit Ollie Sale with the save there? Did he get a fingertip onto it, onto the crossbar?
If you're Spoons would have claimed it, wouldn't they?
Of course he would. So what do we expect in the second 45, Paul? You mentioned in commentary, Callan Elliott was warming up, and there was a little bit of a mismatch, if we're being honest. Payne versus Lofthouse. Elliott slots in on the right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got to give Brisbane more something to think about going the other way, and I think you get that with Callan Elliott. He's going to get up and down. He's going to try and get his crosses in. I think Payne's been in some good crossing positions. Not terrible crosses by any stretch, but I think Callan Elliott gives you a little bit more quality at that end of the pitch, and he's a little quicker, so might be able to deal with Lofthouse a little bit better.
Yeah, we've got a beauty on our hands here at Eden Park in the Wellington Phoenix's last home match of the regular season. It's 1-1 at the break. Back with the second 45 in a moment, live here on Sky Sport. The Brisbane Roar need to win to keep their slim chances of playoff football alive.
Supporting problems and preventing problems. And where does that get you? Just running in place. Sure. Sure, good support is important, but you want to move your business forward, and that needs strategy and fresh ideas. Layer 3 can help. Everything we do is built around the core of strategy first IT. Where is your business going, and how can technology help you get there? There is magic happening right now. You just need an IT partner to show you what's possible.
To our Maccas and our halftime heroes. A big round of applause, please, Eden Park. Well done to everyone involved, and thanks again to Maccas who continue to support the game we love at every level, giving tomorrow's stars the chance to play on the pitch in front of the best supporters in the league. Once again, thank you, Maccas. Listen up, Liberty proudly supports the A-League's free thinkers and game changers along with goal kickers both on and off the field. Bring your finance strengths to life with Liberty loans for free thinkers.
At Liberty, our loans are for the free thinkers, the game changers, the high flyers, and the renegades. Because we love free thinkers on and off the field. Liberty loans for free thinkers.
Fair to say, life has changed a bit recently. Most of us have found a bit more freedom, a bit more time for ourselves, and a better balance of work and play. Because the one thing we've all learned from this unique time of life is to live. Live your own way. And like Isuzu UTE, wait.
And Phoenix fans, you can go your own way with Isuzu UTE, the official automotive partner of the A-Leagues.
Penalties traded by the Brisbane Roar and the Wellington Phoenix. 9th goal of the season for Jay O'Shea and a 6th in 6 games for him. For Oscar Zavada, 14 now. And here's the change that Paul Eiffel alerted us to just before half-time. Callan Elliott into the action. Just wait for confirmation that that will be for Tim Payne. It seems most likely. Or in fact perhaps a change with Tim Payne slotting into central defence. Let's wait for the official confirmation from 4th official Anne-Marie Keeley. Yes indeed, so it is Nico Boxall who comes off, Callan Elliott to right back and Tim Payne into central defence alongside Scott Wootton. Terrific season he's had, Callan Elliott. An all-whites debut in amongst it all as well. Provider of 4 assists, as well as good defensive work. Jan Saas and Jez Lofthouse get to know one another. Last time they were that close together, Jan Saas was bringing Jez Lofthouse down in the penalty area. A pretty important 45 minutes of football underway at Eden Park. Brisbane Roar in the dark strip now, attacking the goal to our right. And the Wellington Phoenix in their gold and black heading back towards the left of screen. Confirmation of that change with Elliott on for Boxall. Jan Sass goes down and in some discomfort. Yellow card brandished. And Tom Aldred is the man who's received the yellow card, sliding in there on Jan Sass.
Well, unlike last night's decision to upgrade a yellow card to a red for the Melbourne Victory, I think Tom Aldred will see that remain just that, a yellow card. Regardless of the painful one, contact on the lower left leg for Jan Sass. And already Crave is up on his feet, warming up sideline.
Confirmation of the yellow card for Tom Aldred, his fourth of this A-League men's season. The Brisbane Roar skipper, he's just going across now to check on the health of Jan Sass, which is a nice gesture from Tom Aldred. Thumbs up from Jan Sass. It's badly mistimed from Tom Aldred, but perhaps it might be something that limits the involvement or the further involvement of Jan Sass. He's back on his feet, which is a good sign.
I think those that are wondering at home what the difference is between that challenge by Tom Aldred and the one last night from Roderick Miranda for Melbourne Victory is where the contact was made and what it was made by. So last night, studs were up and they made contact with the lower leg. That time, Tom Aldred had both studs down and nothing made contact with the lower leg.
Lewis takes the resulting free kick out to the edge, and Henry Hall looks to bring it away. Lewis stops him from doing so. It's there for Barbarouses. Slides it sideways, lovely. David Ball across the area. Zavada can't make it. Beautifully constructed move. Barbarouses ball. And Oscar Zavada unable to apply the finishing touch.
Scott Wooden gets involved initially. Lovely ball from Barbarouses through the legs and across the face of goal. Well, that's the best chance Zavada's had for a brace all season. As we tick towards the 50-minute mark here, Jason, there's a rather worrying pattern that has come up over the course of the last 5 games for the Wellington Phoenix. They have conceded 6 goals between the 50 and 60-minute mark. And on 2 occasions, Ufuk Talay has had to revert to a back 5. It's not a back 3. He does move to a back 5. So it'll be a period where they'll look to change what's occurred recently, look to work their way from that vulnerability, that fragility that has been present.
Shepovich slides it across the face of the penalty area, but only finds Jan Sass. Zavada wins the throw.
It's not just the number of goals, it's been the nature in which have been conceded. Too often teams are able to go past fullbacks or find space in and around the 18-yard box against the Wellington Phoenix. Saw that last week against Melbourne City in particular, where McLaren definitely hunted.
Yeah, one of the big differences, obviously, in the match situation is Ufuk Talay is unlikely to shut up shop at 1-1. If Wellington were to find a second goal, perhaps he might think about it, but at the moment, all 3 points are what Ufuk Talay is after. That one by Payne just evades Joe O'Shea, but Wooten's got to go back and tidy up, and doesn't do it particularly well because Brisbane have seized upon this, and Jay O'Shea might try and turn defence into attack. Shepovich goes down, O'Shea again. Lofthouse cuts inside, Jez Lofthouse and shoots, palmed away by Sale. It looked as though Lofthouse was going to use the raiding Noah Smith outside him, but instead elected to shoot himself. Sale maybe not quite expecting it. Kamolka can't continue to move.
Again, Jez Lofthouse lurking down this left-hand side, drifts inside onto the right foot. A manageable save there by Ollie Sal. Conservative, but gets that ball well away from his goal.
So Brisbane will be encouraged by their first attacking move of the second half. Do have firepower on the bench too, not least Nikola Miliusnic. In the meantime, it is Hingett looking to make some progress down the right for Brisbane. Breaks though to Lewis. He's got a couple of options. Sass is one of them, but narrow though. And Jordan Holmes out on the edge of his penalty area. No ill effects of the challenge by Aldred for Jan Sass, which is good. This one's got Ollie Sal just backtracking ever so slightly.
Speculative there from Noah Smith. I think there was a cross that became a shot, but had Ollie Sal worried momentarily.
Barbarousis cleverly inside to Sass. Ugarkovic. Now Sutton and Lewis. Sass again. So an end product. Zavada, he goes down as he flipped. No, says referee Stephen Lucas, who was right there. Zavada got back to his feet and played. Ball. Slides it in for Ugarkovic, but Jordan Holmes well aware.
Good little ball from Ugarkovic. Around the corner into David Ball. Nick Green's not particularly happy with the way in which Brisbane Roar are defending in the first 10 minutes of the second half. The noticeable difference is that Brisbane have dropped. They're now conceding the space and allowing Wellington to build it through the midfield.
Bit scrappy in midfield, but Wellington pick up those scraps. Lewis is told to turn outside of the foot to Sass. Lovely. Can they continue the move to Barbarousis? Zavada's in the area. Ball arriving. Into Sass. Here's Jan Sass. Great save by Holmes. Still there for Zavada. He tries the back heel. Ambitious from Zavada, but he has got a corner. But Jan Sass testing Jordan Holmes.
Well, Jan Sass claps. He's involved at several stages throughout the course of this attack. Finds Barbarousis well. And then Costa gets his head up. Returns the ball to Jan Sass. Good initial save. And then Oscar Zavada back to goal. He's got Callan Elliott on his right. And I think it's David Ball to his left. Both players asking for the big number 9 to give them the ball.
So corner results. Lewis to take. Near post and away by Aldred. Sass misses the first touch and goes back over halfway where Payne scampers back. Ugarkovic steps past Shepovic. Costa Barbarousis now. Henry Hoare doing the defending. Ugarkovic. So Wellington with the weight of possession in the first 10 minutes of the second half. Nothing to show for it just yet. Noah Smith stepping in and breaking up that attack, and now Lofthouse, the dangerous Jez Lofthouse. Callan Elliott gets back. David Ball there to help out. And Lofthouse wins a throw off the shins of Elliott.
Elliott keenly aware of the danger. I think it was Tim Payne delayed Lofthouse, and then Elliott arrived as the cavalry.
It didn't quite come together as Brisbane Roar would have hoped. A little nutmeg by Zavada there, but Brisbane get the ball back. Here's Neville. Hingett. Good cross in by Hingett, missed completely by Shepovic. Now Wellington come again, end-to-end at the moment. Barbarousis. Is this his time, Costa Barbarousis? Gets it back from Sass. Gives it back to Sass. Clever. Here's Jan Sass. Surely now! Well, enigma he may be, but goal scorer today he is. In the words of the late great Michael Cockrell, that was brilliant from Jan Sass.
Oh, he's enjoying the moment, and he has every right to. The constant threat for the Wellington Phoenix has been through their number 10s. And the Brazilian starts it off. Costa Barbarousis hands the ball back to him. He gives it into Zavada. And then Jan Sass through on goal. A tidy finish. Strokes it beyond Holmes. 2-1 to the Wellington Phoenix. There's so much space in between the defensive lines at the moment. Whatever change has been made at halftime by Tale is really paying dividends.
Let's get your sideline to Paul Eiffel. Paul as a player and now as a coach. Jan Sass is probably the kind of player who, as a teammate or as one of your charges, gives you a deal of frustration, but then pays you back with moments like that.
Yeah, look, speaking to the boys that I know at the club, they say that he trains the house down often, and they see this, you know, day in, day out, and it's been difficult for him to sort of get that into game day. But you can see glimpses of it, and I think there that the movement, firstly, from Zavada was class. It's a great little ball in the corner. He takes a nice little touch. He was so composed in front of goal there as well. It'd be easy to lash it after build up like that, but he strokes it in the corner. So hopefully we get to see a little bit more of him, and he can take that into the playoffs if the Phoenix can make it.
So Phoenix go ahead 2-1, and now the discussion point you raised before, Jacob, comes into sharp focus with Wellington 2-1 ahead and what their approach may be now. On numerous occasions this season we've seen them change formation and look to shut up shop as a one-goal lead has been theirs. I guess one of the difficulties is that they haven't got any defenders left on the bench, but we'll come back to that.
I think the answer to that question can be provided by Paul Eiffel down sideline. It looks like Ufuk Tale has adjusted the number 10s. There's now a lot more space in between the defensive line and the midfield for Brisbane Roar, which has been exploited very well by both Costa Barbarousis and Jan Sass. Is there anything that you're seeing sideline which is making that so?
Look, I think it's actually just the game's got a bit more transitional, and I think it actually suits the Phoenix, because if you look at Costa Barbarousis, he's really got himself into the game. Jan Sass has got himself into the game. It's the ability to be able to pick the ball up into those areas and then actually drive at the back four and then pick out the passes from there. And I think that suits the Phoenix a little bit better than it has done up to this point, because the Roar have been sat in a little bit. So once the game's opened up, I think you'll see more of that from the Phoenix. It's whether Tale sticks with that or he goes back to his trusted back five.
Here's Jay O'Shea looking to score a second. What a save! What a save by Sale. Jay O'Shea is one-on-one. That's going in, but for the right hand of Ollie Sale.
That was really well worked down the right-hand side. Hingett finds Hoare, who then finds O'Shea. Through on goal, a not dissimilar position to where Jan Sass found himself. But this time, the difference is that right hand of Ollie Sale. A slight but incredibly important touch.
Shepovic was pleading for the pass. Corner result, which O'Shea will take. Still some defending to do for Wellington. They do it through the solid header of Scott Wootton. Helped back in by Smith, away by Wellington. Well, Brisbane may have scored fewer goals than any other side this season, but they have scored in each of their last 10 games, including this one. And they're pretty good in the last 15 minutes. Over a third of their total goals come late on. We're not at that point yet, still half an hour to go, but Brisbane fans shouldn't be discouraged.
No, everything points towards this going well into the final stages of the match. think the other thing is that I think Tully will be looking for his charges to really put some emphasis on finishing well and dominating the game, because we haven't seen that from them this season. On only 2 occasions they've gone out and put oppositions to the sword. Away at Western where they won 3-0, and then at home against Macarthur they went on to win 4-1.
Little ball into Barbarouses. Calls for handball against Tom Aldred. You saw Stephen Lucas point to his midriff to indicate that's where he thought it hit Tom Aldred. Wellington have it back. Sutton, he's unleashed one already today. Will he try a second time? Always rising off the left boot of Sam Sutton.
Well, just have a look here. Because Costa Barbarouses reacted immediately. And there you can see quite clear, Tom Aldred off the hip into the arm. Space for Sam Sutton on the edge of the box. Already hit one at Jordan Holmes, that time going over the custodian for Brisbane Roar.
Good refereeing by Stephen Lucas. It's the 4th time Stephen Lucas has refereed this fixture. A Wellington win and 2 draws in the previous 3 occasions. And he's had the whistle. He knows he got that one right as well. So Brisbane's approach now will be instructive. It's really only one way they can go. It's a rare mistouch by Lofthouse, who chastises himself.
I think one thing that won't be apparent at home is that there's a tunnel just down to the left of the screen as we look at it at the moment, and the wind is rushing through there. So like Costa Barbarouses did in the first half, Jez Lofthouse struggled to get that one under control. I think it's just because the ball changes right at the last as it gets onto the boot.
Half an hour or so to go. Round 24 in the A-League men's, full of intrigue. Sydney FC against Perth Glory next at Allianz Stadium. Then Adelaide United welcome Western United to Coopers. Truan sitting at the base of midfield for the Roar. Smith. Lofthouse is brought down by Callan Elliott.
Stephen Lucas has actually seen that the other way. Callan Elliott ends up going to ground and clips Jez Lofthouse on the ankle, but Lucas has decided the initial contact is in fact the other way.
10 fouls committed by Brisbane to just the 3 from Wellington today. But a holding in the centre circle, but again Stephen Lucas tells Stefan Shepovic to get back on his feet. Kai Truan is up in the centre forward channel now, making things as difficult as possible for Wellington's defence. Calmly passed out by Wellington. Ufuk Talay down in his technical area will be pleased with that. Forward to Sass in a little pocket of space. Looking for the run of Barbarouses, who may well have been offside if that ball had found its way through to him. Clayton Lewis climbs on the back of the referee. It's all happening out there at Eden Park.
Stephen Lucas the most apologetic there.
Henry Hoare hanging it outside. Hoare looking to make room for a shot, and does! Henry Hoare, it left his boot in really eye-catching fashion. Ollie Sale couldn't haul it in, just wide of the post from Henry Hoare.
He's been dangerous, drifting in towards goal so often in the first half. The first side of him, the second onto his lesser favoured left foot, but that's not far away.
Well, Tim Payne's bringing it out from defence in the style of Rio Ferdinand. Elliott. Ugarkovic slides it into Zavada. Sideways to Sass. His first touch is no good. Third, fourth, fifth touch. Sixth touch. Saved by Holmes. Zavada can't get there. Jordan Holmes with another massive save for Brisbane. Scott Neville can't quite complete the clearance. Barbarouses takes it off him. Here's Costa in the area, slides it back. David Ball into a crowd of bodies and they clear it. Still there for Wellington, it's all over the place. Callan Elliott into the back of Scott Neville. What a passage of play.
The Brisbane Roar are listing at the moment. They're staying afloat thanks to a huge save from Jordan Holmes. Once the Phoenix get beyond that initial press, there is so much space to attack this back four, and more often than not, it seems to be man on man as the Phoenix number 10s are unmarked.
Given away by Lewis to Hoare. He breaks forward. Ball brings him down and he'll go in the book. David Ball for that challenge on Henry Hoare as he seized onto the errant pass from Clayton Lewis.
We exchange there from David Ball and Ufuk Talay. Poor touch resulted in a counter-attack for Brisbane Roar. Here's the chance. Ball almost gets away from Jan Sass. A block initially, and then a huge save from Holmes. Keeps his team in this contest.
Massive moment. At 3-1 down, it's a very long way back for Brisbane. Instead, they're now down the other end searching for an equaliser. O'Shea again on set pieces. Away by Elliott that time. And now Wootton. Wellington can't get it all the way clear. It keeps on coming back. Truan that time. But a head tennis. And Oscar Zavada gets a foot in on Neville. And the danger is diffused.
We have an impending double sub here for Brisbane Roar. Looks like Courtney Perkins and Joe Knowles.
Thanks, Ipey. So, Nick Green is going to shuffle the deck. Interesting that for the meantime anyway. He looks to be keeping Nikola Miliusnic in reserve. His 21 A-League men's goals. Talk of his pedigree at this level. Both teams just having trouble holding on to the ball at the moment.
There's a case of aerial artillery there for the last 5 minutes or so. And here comes the substitutions.
So Noah Smith, that is a 15, or half of a 15 anyway. Joe Knowles in place of Noah Smith. And Jez Lofthouse, one of the more eye-catching performers today for Brisbane Roar, is replaced by fellow youngster, 20-year-old Jordan Courtney Perkins. So it looks, Paul, as though that's going to be a change down the left-hand side for Brisbane, with both Smith and Lofthouse doing most of their work down that side. Down Phoenix's left goes Sam Sutton. Barbarouses is getting more and more involved in the game. Ugarkovic. Sass. Through the legs and out to Elliott. Into the area. And Oscar Zavada climbed high. It's going to fall to David Ball. David Ball! Has that crossed the line? Has that crossed the line? I don't think it has. I really don't think that's a goal.
What is going on? series of events. They're checking. David Ball gets it out of his feet, off one post, off another, off Holmes, still there, off the post again. Does it cross the line? No.
Well, it's the very rarely seen ball striking both posts and not crossing the line from David Ball. He can't believe it.
Jordan Holmes in the second half is keeping Brisbane Roar in the game.
Still there for Wellington. Ugarkovic thought about the shot. Digs it in instead. Elliott nods it down. Here's ball again. Off the post again from David Ball and headed behind. Well, in the space of 60 seconds, David Ball has hit the post 3 times.
Well, he's only scored 1 goal this season, but here he's been denied by the post 3 times in 30 seconds. He is literally inches every time away from putting that ball in the back of the net.
Well, the crowd here are right into this game now. Wellington on a couple of occasions, as Jacob said, inches away from making it 3. Here's the corner from Lewis. Out to the edge, headed back in by Sutton. By Wooten across, Neville gets it away. Here's ball again. David Ball. Sam Sutton! Again, that looked good off the right boot this time of Sam Sutton. And he brings his hands to his head.
Well, this time the stanchion's under attack. Nothing vertical surviving at the Brisbane Roar end. David Ball trying to craft his latest opportunities, falls to Sutton. And Jordan Holmes wouldn't have had a chance if that one was on target. Far too many bodies in front of him.
Well, the goal at that end is living a charmed life at the moment, but the end product, a goal, has not been forthcoming for Wellington, despite the efforts of Sutton and of David Ball and of others at that end. Jordan Holmes has been terrific. The posts have been equally influential.
We've just seen a stat there. 3 big chances created by the Wellington Phoenix in the second half. 3 denied by the Eden Park posts.
Too much on that one from Tim Payne. Callan Elliott unable to haul it in. So can Brisbane ride their luck and test Ollie Sale at the other end? They've done it a few times, most notably Jay O'Shea in the last few minutes. Sarson Elliott, he's been good since he's come on, Callan Elliott. Loses out on this occasion though, but the ball's going to find its way back into Wellington's midfield. Barbarousis. Ball and now Sutton. Just a period of possession for the meantime anyway for Wellington. Game starting to get a little bit stretched. Ball skims off the head and past Sutton. Barbarousis is going to tidy up. Barbarousis and Hingett, former teammates. Ugarkovic. Wellington will just keep possession. Keep stretching the Brisbane Roar into those little pockets of space. David Ball. Bit short from Ugarkovic, but he slides in and wins the ball back. Sutton into Zavada. It's a well-directed cross. Oscar Zavada climbing high with Tom Aldred, and he's fallen awkwardly. So some attention for Oscar Zavada and maybe for Tom Aldred as well.
Well, that was tantalising from Sam Sutton. And Zavada had got in the right spot in front of Aldred. Getting across that near post. We'll just see what happens when he falls. I think that's just contact with the ground. Piney, a bit of a dead leg for Oscar Zavada.
Chance for everybody to catch their breath for a bit as we tick into the final 15 minutes of the match.
Just go down to Paul Eiffel, to the sideline. Eiffel, the post, hit 3 times in 30 seconds. What was the reaction of the Wellington Phoenix bench?
Ufi was pulling his hair out. It was ridiculous. He was claiming the first one was in, then I think he saw it in the big screen, realised it wasn't. He calmed himself down for a second, then it hits the post again, and he was claiming something else. So he just wanted it in the net one way or the other, and it was, you know, panning across the ball. He looked absolutely devastated, but he seemed to have shaken himself off, and there might be chances for him coming later in this game.
Not good for blood pressure.
Absolutely not, but they're back out there and back at it.
And Sass is the latest to try his luck. Barbarousis lovely to Sass, who's not going to quite get there. It's been a bit of a spark about Costa Barbarousis in the second half today. Chance for Joe Knowles to show us what he's got off the bench. Looks to bring in Courtney Perkins, who's the other recently arrived sub. And corner results.
Kellen Elliott is confused by that one. We'll give you a second look at it. Elliott's trying to shepherd the ball behind the sideline, and it does come off his right knee as he skids towards the corner flag.
Jay O'Shea surveys a crowded 6-yard area. Good punch by Sale. And Jan Sass gets a toe to it. It'll be a raw throw. Both Ufuk Talay and Giancarlo Italiano are remonstrating with referee Stephen Lucas.
Well, Ollie Sale had to hold off one, and he had Tom Aldred bearing down on him. Could hear the footsteps from up here.
Shepovic right down in the corner, wins the corner. Stefan on the back, Stefan Shepovic, the Serbian striker. Scored a goal last week against Newcastle, would love another. O'Shea. That's across everybody, and you can tell Ollie Sale wasn't sure whether to come or not. Nobody gambled in a Brisbane Roar shirt, and it sailed eventually harmlessly by.
Well, very indecisive defending there from Ollie Sale. Made the call early, but that ball's always coming back in towards his goal. And fortune favoured the Wellington Phoenix defence.
David Ball goes into heavy traffic. Brisbane come away with the ball. One back by Sutton. Sass, referee almost in the way. Clever from Sass. Here's David Ball. He's been in the action. Here's Costa Barbarousis. Here's Zavada. And again, Jordan Holmes in the way. No power on the header from Zavada. What a game we're being treated to here.
I think that one rounds it out. The crossbar hit as well. Jordan Holmes did an impressive job there of waiting for the ball to drop and then navigating the crossbar.
Latest Brisbane attack snuffed out. Played forward towards Zavada, who's not moving particularly freely after falling awkwardly just moments ago. Wonder whether there might be a change there needed with Oscar Van Hatten perhaps summoned. Here's Henry Hoare. We know he's got a rocket of a left foot and a right too. Henry Hoare tracking across the penalty area. Into the area now, and a little flick off the head of Sam Sutton. Brisbane Roar throw.
Well, not for the first time today. Henry Hoare dances his way across the 18-yard box, but here's the earlier chance. Costa Barbarousis stands this one up, and Zavada gets in front of Scott Neville. Was it on their left-hand side? Not enough power to trouble Jordan Holmes, though.
Again, it's into the area. A high foot claimed by Phoenix, and then a shot from Henry Hoare. Ollie Sale comfortably watching that one.
Starting to see that caution, that conservative defending that has troubled the Wellington Phoenix, and it looks like Oscar Zavada is going to be brought off. I think this is more out of management than anything. Hasn't been moving freely, but will be replaced by Božidar Krajev. I wonder if this means that David Ball will go up alongside Costa Barbarouses and Krajev will come out the left-hand side. We also see a like-for-like change where Krajev goes up into that number 9 position. He was being utilised by Ufuk-Talay in a much more central role over the last couple of games. Does provide that physical presence up top and can be an outlet for those deeper.
Just the second time Krajev has come off the bench for Wellington. He started just about every game. The only other one he's missed was when he was suspended after a red card. Here is Sass, slides it forward, Krajev for the impact, and he can't get there ahead of Holmes. Would have been his first touch. Clap of the hands for his mate Jan Sass, but Brisbane bring it away.
Well, Costa Barbarouses was the option that was on there and needed to be slipped into him so he could take a touch towards Holmes' goal, but Sass tried to do too much with the cutting ball.
Here's Knowles. He's won a corner. And this time it's Wellington who believe that had gone behind before. Joe Knowles.
I think they're asking for offside. Piney.
Upshot of it all is the corner.
Just keep an eye on that near post. It is heavily occupied.
That's where it hits. And it goes in as well! And Brisbane have equalised. Not sure who got the final touch. But the most important thing is the ball has found its way in and Brisbane level at 2-2.
Delightful ball in. And it might even be an own goal. It looks like it's come off Tim Payne. A touch from Gamulka initially, but I think the last one is actually off Tim Payne, who stares it beyond his goalkeeper. And Ollie Sal made his way towards Mark Rule, the assistant on the Wellington Phoenix side, to continue the conversation about a potential offside in the build-up to that corner.
Well, not given. Scott Neville was there or thereabouts as well. So we'll wait for the official word on who scored that goal. But regardless of who's put it in the back of the net, it has given Brisbane Roar an equaliser. And those missed opportunities now for Wellington come into sharper focus.
Well, Jordan Holmes can stand a little bit taller. His contribution kept the Roar in the game.
Ollie Sal put under a bit of pressure at the back. Scott Woodson as well, but they just about navigate their way out of it.
Another sub impending down here, boys. Armiento looks like he's coming on for Brisbane Roar.
It's in the penalty area again for Brisbane. Hoare lined up a shot, it was blocked. And then up and over from Jack Hingett, who doesn't get a lot of A-League goals. Just the 3 in 258 games for Jack Hingett.
They got an earful from a couple of teammates that were wanting him to play that more centrally. Carlo Armiento with 3 goals this season. And he will be replacing Šipović.
Yeah, so Šipović has made his way off. Carlo Armiento, who comes on, the 23-year-old, for the final 6 minutes plus stoppages. You just get the feeling there's another chapter or two in this one. Brisbane desperate for the 3 points. A draw doesn't really help them too much. 3 points keeps them well and truly alive in the finals race. It also means Wellington Phoenix have conceded 8 goals after the 70-minute mark in the last 9 games. So late defending has not been high on their CV. 5 minutes plus stoppages left in Auckland.
You don't get the sense that either team's playing for a draw.
No, 1 point wouldn't be the preferred option, obviously, for either. It might be more preferable for Wellington, perhaps. Would take them to 32 points.
Brisbane were all rightly asking for a free kick there. Hinga got clattered by Ball as he punched that one out.
Sam Sutton is collected by Kai Truan as he played that one forward. Clayton Lewis wants to get going quickly. Stephen Lucas wants everybody to calm down just a bit.
It's a foul for us.
So it was Kai Truan going in on Sam Sutton. And Kai Truan also got a bit of a whack on the ankle there. Plays back underway. And Brisbane might seize onto an errant pass here. And Jay O'Shea's hearing off into the left wing position, but not quite able to haul it in. So one thing defeat, or rather a draw, would do for Wellington is extinguish any chance of a top 4 finish for them. That would still be alive if they win the game. Ollie Sal comes out and claims a defeat. In fact, it wouldn't quite extinguish it mathematically. It'd still be able to get to 38 points, which is where the Mariners and Western Sydney are at the moment, but they'd need a big improvement in their goal difference, and for those two teams, or one of them, to lose their remaining 2 games. 2 minutes left in what could be Ufuk Tala's final game as Wellington Phoenix manager on New Zealand soil.
I think for Tele, not only has his team been undone by late goals, but they've also been plagued recently by goals from set pieces. I believe it's something like 3 goals conceded in the last 4 from the dead ball.
Jugarkovic fought for Barbarousis. Holmes is out. Doesn't collect the ball, and offside flag on the far side will calm everybody down. Into the final minute. Given away by Neville. David Ball looks up, sees Kryev. And Barbarousis there. Sas also. Sas has Jugarkovic outside. Goes himself for the meantime. Kryev. Lewis. Kryev again. Bosniak Kryev into a cul-de-sac. Still has the ball though, slides it to Sas and deflected into the hands of Jordan Holmes.
Alex Rufo is just getting his final instructions here from Italiano. Looks like he's going to make his way into the pitch with about 4 minutes to go now.
Thanks, Ify. Stephen Ugarkovic could be one of the ones in line to be replaced. Lines it up for Callan Elliott. Armiento across and gets it away.
Just wonder if Clayton Lewis's lack of game time might pay against him here. And it is Clayton Lewis coming off. Alex Rufer coming on in a like-for-like change.
Number 14, Alex Rufer replaces number 23, Clayton Lewis.
Any specific instructions given, Ify?
Couldn't quite hear them, mate, but I would imagine this go and notch your goal for us to finish them off, because there's 3 minutes left. There's not much time. Try and get that ball in the box now. I think it's Hail Mary time.
So 4 extra minutes to be played, minimum. One of those has elapsed. It's there for Elliott. Tries to play a 1-2 with Sass, which doesn't come off. Recalibrated by Ugarkovic. Elliott just doing his best to get his foot on the ball. It's there for Sass, a bit of space out this side for Ball. And now Sutton. He lifts it in. Jan Sass! What an opportunity for Jan Sass to ice the cake for Wellington. Not able to direct his header on target.
Oh, that's the moment. Sam Sutton stands up, looks up, finds Sass. The goal is beckoning. Had his head in his hands almost instantly. He knows the time and the space that he had right in front of goal. That needs to be nestling in the back of the net.
Well, we've seen all the colours of Jan Sass's rainbow today, that's for sure. Still time perhaps for Wellington. David Ball. Waiting for reinforcements to arrive in the shape of Callan Elliott. Crowd desperate for a Wellington winner here. Elliott, tiring legs in the Brisbane camp. David Ball lifts it forward. Away by Hingett. Ball out to Sutton, it goes past him. Barbarousis. Rufer in the action. And here, Nick Green instructing his players. Sutton gets away. And they'll have a corner, Wellington, as we head towards the final minute of added time.
Momentum definitely with the Wellington Phoenix now. The question's going to be, do they have enough time? And they've got an opportunity here. Jan Sass to swing this one in towards Rufer and Kraev and Wooten.
Final minute of the game, near post. And David Ball unable to get the contact he was after.
It doesn't go into that central area, ends up at the near post, and there's not much David Ball can do with that. Tries to contort his body to get the slightest contact on it.
Rufer wins the header. Kraev in a tight area. Keeps it in with Hingett. And Hingett brings him down. That'll be a yellow card for Jack Hingett. And one final chance, perhaps, for Wellington Phoenix.
It looks like Tim Payne is wandering towards the ball. Kraev wrestled the Brisbane Roar defenders away. Jack Hingett cut him down.
One more chance for Wellington Phoenix. Crowd on their feet. A throng of players on the edge of the area. Lifted in by Payne. Away by Brisbane. And Sass might have the final kick of the football today. And it has sailed wide. And indeed, that proves to be the case. It's all square at the Garden of Eden. A result which probably doesn't do the playoff hopes of either side. Too much good. Wellington stay in the fight. Brisbane probably do too. They'll take a point away from this compelling contest. Wellington Phoenix 2, Brisbane Roar 2. Well, so many talking points, so much to discuss, and conversations being had between players, officials and coaching staff. The Wellington Phoenix remain unbeaten on this patch of grass. 11 matches here now without defeat, but really it was the 3 points they were after rather than the 1. We'll show you in our post-game what that does to the shape of the A-League men's table. Ollie Sailor's still angry about what he thought was an offside that wasn't given. So for Brisbane, they move to 27 points. Their table position doesn't improve, but they still keep themselves alive in the race for finals football. They're going to need other results to go their way now. Oscar Zavada on the score sheet again for Wellington. For the 14th time this season, he's found the back of the net. Jack Hingett, just another in his storied career of dramatic battles in a Brisbane shirt. Jay O'Shea, a goal scorer today. He's got himself a slice of history. 6 consecutive games in which he scored. Pensive, Tim Payne, as he looks around.